Good evening. I'm Scott J. Hamilton, and I'm delighted to be welcomed into your home this evening for another episode of the Hamilton Report. This is actually a great time to be a Democrat in Oklahoma because we have some amazing candidates. And as you know from our program of the last several weeks, we've been interviewing candidates for statewide and for senatorial offices, as well as some folks who are running for House and Senate seats. Well, tonight our guest is running for one of the highest jobs in our state. We'll be talking with her about what she plans to accomplish as our next lieutenant governor. All that and more on tonight's Hamilton Report. I hope that wherever you are tonight, you're somewhere cool and that your fur babies are also cool. These record-breaking temperatures are having a big toll on so many people. So I would encourage you to please check on your friends, your family members, and especially elderly neighbors or those with compromised immune systems, because this is a tough time for so many people with breathing issues, because it is just so oppressive outside. So that's just a friendly suggestion from me to you. As I mentioned a moment ago, we have had some wonderful guests on the last several weeks, actually the last couple of years on this broadcast, and I'm thankful for every single one. But it's been a true delight being able to get to know our candidates more intimately, and our viewers have been responding very, very well, because Oklahoma's Democratic candidates this year more than ever before are real people. They have real lives, real families, and they're concerned about real issues, the same as you and me, the things that we talk about around our kitchen table, the economy, gas prices, public education. These are things that I'm hearing over and over from our candidates, and nothing could make me happier than to have them all talking about this very same things that real Oklahomans are concerned about. But it occurred to me that we may be talking a bit into a vacuum. And by that, I mean, we're talking just to each other. And if you're watching me tonight, chances are very, very good that you are a consistent voter, that you vote for Democrats because you expect and want positive change in Oklahoma. There is still so much talk, especially now that we are in the midst of the January 6th commission hearings. There's another one slated for this Thursday evening in prime time, and I certainly will be watching that, as I know many of our viewers will as well. But one of the things that is most troubling to me is it's not just the former president that we have to be concerned about. It's all of the rabid followers that he has amassed, some of the worst of the worst. Our friends at the Lincoln Project have done an amazing job over the last couple of years in producing videos that highlight the lowlights of Republicans. And I want you to join me in taking a look at this for a moment, because I think you will agree that it is absolutely alarming what he, but more so his followers, are capable of doing.
You're what the Second Amendment is for. You're walking into the lion's den, all sorts of things like that. After the president tweeted at me by name, calling me out the way that he did, the threats became much more specific, much more graphic.
My email, my cell phone was doxxed, and so I was getting text all over the country. And then eventually my wife started getting the text, and hers typically came in as sexualized texts, which were disgusting.
Telling me that, I'll be in jail with my mother, and saying things like, be glad it's 2020 and not 1920.
And I don't know if I should name groups, but there was one gentleman that had the 3 bars on his chest, and he had a pistol and was threatening my neighbor.
Do you know how it feels to have the President of the United States to target you?
A lot of them were racist. A lot of them were just hateful.
Some people broke into my daughter-in-law's home, and my son has passed, and she's a widow and has 2 kids. And so we're very concerned about her safety.
We had a daughter who was gravely ill, who was upset by what was happening outside.
I stayed away from my home for approximately 2 months. It was horrible. I felt homeless. I felt, I can't believe this person has caused this much damage to me and my family.
Don't do nothing anymore. I don't want to go anywhere. I second guess everything that I do. It's affecting my life in a major way, in every way.
The reason, friends, I wanted you to see that is to see that these are the people we will never convince. These are the people that are convinced that the last president is some kind of a savior for them, and they will go to the ends of the earth willing and able to cause harm and death to those that they disagree with. These are not the people that are going to vote for Democrats. Therefore, it becomes even more important for people like you and me to talk to our reasonable friends, our family members, our neighbors, our coworkers, someone who may never have voted for a Democrat before, but cannot stand the thought of public officials being threatened in this way. Or in the case of a poll worker, that's someone who was just showing up to do her job and was left unable to return to her home for 2 months. We have to get the word out that we have viable, talented, caring, and compassionate candidates. And with that, it's my privilege to welcome our candidate for Lieutenant Governor of Oklahoma, a job that obviously these last 4 years we haven't heard much about because the current office holder has done so very little. And that's why I'm so happy to welcome to the Hamilton Report our candidate to be the next Lieutenant Governor of the state of Oklahoma, Melinda Alizadeh-Fard. Melinda, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me on the program.
I remember the first time we met, it was actually virtually through Facebook, and you were frantically texting me on filing day saying, I've made this decision. I'm going to file for this office. I feel compelled to do it. And I'm going to the Capitol right now. And that's exactly what you did. Tell our viewers why this year. What was it that made you say, you know what? I have to make this sacrifice. I have to stand up because I have something that I need to do for Oklahoma.
Well, I do want to correct one thing. The very first text that you got from me was, hey, Scott, is anybody stepping up to run for this office? Because I see no one is, and my family is on me they want me to run. And nobody was. It looked like Mr. Pinnell was going to be unopposed. And I don't believe you should reward people who don't do their job by keeping them in that position.
Oh, that is beautifully stated. Thank you for that.
Thank you. So I am blessed. I was able to put my hat in there, and I did file. I'm like the last one that filed on that Friday, but it's exciting. It is such a great position that is being wasted by somebody who's in there not doing the job that they're supposed to.
All that the current lieutenant governor has done is be a yes man for Stitt. Let's just call it like it is. It's cronyism at its best. As someone who is, by the nature of the job description, in charge of tourism in our state, when you look at the Swadley's debacle alone, I mean, how in the world can he expect to keep his job? Unfortunately, I think he fully expects Oklahomans to simply just forget that we have thrown millions and millions of dollars at a for-profit business, and we wound up with nothing to show for it. So I want you to tell me, you've told us why you decided to run, but what is it that you will do as our lieutenant governor to reshape the way Oklahomans see that job? And what do you want to accomplish in terms of certainly visibility as lieutenant governor, but also accountability?
Well, as many people may not be aware, the lieutenant governor serves on a number of boards and commissions. And in that position right now, the office may not have direct oversight of the agencies, as that was one of the first things that the current administration did, was remove the power of the commissions to actually do the job that they are statutorily created for, to provide oversight and direction for those agencies. And the lieutenant governor remains on those boards and commissions. And when I am lieutenant governor, my hands may be tied to some degree, but on that commission, I will be the one asking the hard questions and demanding answers and looking at the numbers and looking what we're getting for our money. And if it's not a good deal, we're not going that way. I'm a mom, and that is its own skill set that is very hard to define, but all the moms out there know what I'm talking about. And our taxpayer dollars, they're very precious. We work hard for our money. We don't do that just for it to be thrown away. And those same principles will apply when I'm lieutenant governor and when I'm sitting on those commissions and the boards.
I was going to ask you about your current job, and you kind of gave it away just by the way that you pronounce statutorily. You are an attorney in Oklahoma City, correct?
I am. I have been a licensed attorney for over 20 years. My practice focuses on immigration law. I practice other types of law, but the more I get into immigration, the more I like that. It's just such a life-changing area of law. You are helping people obtain the American dream. You're helping them get their visas to come over. You're helping them escape. When I've done quite a bit of asylum work. I was a volunteer with Catholic Charities when I first started going to law school. And so it's very fulfilling. And if I didn't feel like we needed somebody to step up and do the jobs that aren't being done over at the Capitol, I would be completely happy to stay where I am. But
well, wow, what being able to bring that sensitivity and that heart to the office of lieutenant governor is astounding. It really is, because our Senator Langford, instead of paying attention to what's happening in Oklahoma, being concerned about Oklahomans, was on vacation, came back, worked a week, and then decided to take a trip to the border. And I don't mean the Oklahoma border. I'm talking about the U.S.-Mexican border. Yeah. He has said nothing about the fact that Mexico has agreed to hundreds of millions, if I'm not mistaken, it's over $1 billion now, to improve border security. And all of this performance is just insane. And what you're talking about is recognizing that people do live in places where asylum is their only hope of having not just a fulfilling life, but in many cases, having life at all.
That's true. Absolutely true. Absolutely.
You know, I'd like for you to speak a bit about another very troubling aspect of the current administration. We have more federally recognized Native American tribes than any state in the entire country. And with that comes some fabulous opportunities for tourism and travel and entertainment. And yet the current administration, and I'm absolutely putting both the governor and lieutenant governor into that, have done nothing but just fight, fight, fight against our tribes. What is your position on working with the tribes, Melinda?
Well, I believe that the tribes, we are in a partnership with them. Oklahoma is their land. It's our land too. We need to, I believe tribes have sovereignty. I believe that we should honor a lot of the treaties that we've made with them, the agreements. We don't need to be breaking any more promises. I was really disappointed the Supreme Court ruled in the tribe's favor, and then we have spent millions just trying to undo that. If you don't like, so I would recognize that and work with the tribes. But the lieutenant governor should be very involved with the tribes, because in the lieutenant governor is the vice chair, or actually the chair of the Native American Cultural and Education Board, Advisory Board. And that goes hand in hand with tourism. And tourism, let me say this, I love barbecue as much as most Okies out there watching this show, but I do not believe the focus of any of our parks should be a restaurant. It's like, I don't care how good McDonald's is. That should not be the focus and the major budget expenses for our tourism department. Tourism features many of the unique parks and recreational areas that we have in the state. You want the people to come see that. You want them, for God's sake, they could get barbecues anywhere.
Even in New York City today.
So I would like to see the tribes more involved in the lodges too. I have always heard that the very best place you can eat in Washington, D.C. is in the Smithsonian's Native American Museum, in their cafe with authentic Native American recipes. If we could incorporate something like that in our parks and in our lodges, that's the type of tourism we should be encouraging.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And the First Americans Museum, which honestly, they're about to celebrate their very first anniversary.
Actually, they did. Yes.
And they have a big gala planned. But one of the attractions there is the restaurant. And the reviews that they have been getting are incredible, because people want something different and they want something authentic. So I think that you're really on to something there, Melinda.
I celebrated Mother's Day at FAM. That's the First American Museum. So it's a wonderful place.
It really is. And it's a treasure. And with all of the planning now in the resort that will be located very near there, Oklahoma has a chance to become a top 10 state, but just not under the current administration.
We are top 10. We have great museums. We have great recreational areas. We have great entertainment. We have people that are open-minded, that are accepting. We are not one of those states that is biased or bigoted. I don't care what's coming out of the Capitol. That's not who we are. That's not the Oklahoma standard either. Coming out of
You're absolutely right. We have a lot of discussions here about. I'm sorry.
That. And as Lieutenant Governor, you are spokesperson for the state. I would make sure that message gets out there.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. One of our viewers has a question. This is from Mary Patterson, and she's obviously recognizing that a Democrat in this role, and as well as the role of governor and superintendent of public education and any other statewide office, is going to have challenges because of the Republican stronghold in both the House and Senate. And so recognizing that for the challenge that it is, what would you like to do to lessen that division that exists? How do you see yourself being able to work with common sense Republicans?
You know, the lieutenant governor and the governor, they are not running mates. They are running independent races. My duties as lieutenant governor are there regardless of who's in power, who's the governor. We work with them. We work across the aisle. When I assume the position, which is another duty of the lieutenant governor, is the president of the Senate. That is not a partisan duty. That is something where you're working with everybody across all the aisles. And I am somebody who can get along with everybody. And I think I would bring those skills to office too. So I would be working with all senators, all legislators, all Oklahomans.
Oh, I'm really, it's a breath of fresh air. I know that we're still relatively early in your campaign, but have you had a chance to, and we should also point out that you also were stuck at home with COVID for a good little while.
I thank God it was very mild, but
I'm glad to know that.
Yeah.
But have you had a chance to start traveling around the state, meeting with folks?
I have. My very first stop was in McIntosh County, way back in April. Recently, I've been to Enid. I've been to Yukon. We are figuring out our routes to get to Lawton. We plan to hit all over the state, all 77 counties, and meet everybody. And
that's ambitious, but I think that's what it's going to take. I really do, because once people have a chance to talk to you and to get to know you as a person, you and I have met on several occasions, but I feel just in the short time that we've had together this evening that I know you even better as a person. And that's what we have to our advantage as Democrats, because we have folks who just genuinely do care about the state that we call home.
That's right. That's right. My family, I am a 5th generation Oklahoman. I am a Navy baby. My dad was serving in Norfolk when I was born. My mother's from Wewoka. My father's from Shawnee. So we are here. We've been here a long time. I've raised my family here. I have 3 grown children. They went through the public schools here in Oklahoma City and Edmond. I am a former social worker with the Department of Human Services. I was a social worker for 13 years. The best part of my job was meeting everybody, was meeting the people that I'm serving, that I'm helping.
So you were a social worker for 13 years. You've served now as an attorney for a number of years, particularly in immigration law.
23 years, almost 23 years. And
well, it looks like we're experiencing some technical difficulties on Melinda's end. While we're waiting for her to come back, I will mention that a friend of mine was doing, Harvey Jenkins was doing a podcast, an international podcast, and all of a sudden his ring light just went out, and he said he was basically sitting there in the dark. And so when he had an opportunity, he got up and went around to the back of his computer to see what was going on. And he realized that his dog had chewed through the cable connecting his ring light. So these things happen when we're working live. And as you know, this broadcast is always live. I want to take a moment to recognize all of our candidates. And I mean, at every level, the folks who ran and fought hard for races in their counties, their school boards, because no matter what, the old saying is true: all politics is local. And looking at some of the people that we have running this year, on our Chairs Daily Live, Alicia interviewed 4 candidates last week that are every single one of them running for House or Senate, are all people that you would like to just sit down and talk to, because they're just ordinary folks. I see Melinda is rejoined us. I'm glad that technical issue worked out because I would
Yeah,
have hated to end the
I don't
show
want
in
to
the
say
middle of a
that
sentence.
video. I don't want to say that video you were showing about that was somebody hacking in or anything, but I think we had a power surge. But we're back. So,
Okay, I'm glad you're back.
so sorry.
In the few minutes that we have remaining, Melinda, what have I not talked about tonight that you would like to share with our viewers that they will know without question that you are the right person to serve our state as Lieutenant Governor?
I want to say they can trust me. My reasons for running are to benefit our state. I'm not a career politician. So I have a lot of real life skills that I bring to the job. I have a lot of real life common sense that I bring to the job. I have a real work ethic at real jobs that I bring to the job of Lieutenant Governor.
I honestly think you have just listed some of the most amazing things, because when you have accountability, and that's everything you're talking about deals with accountability, showing up, doing the job, doing it well, and being an open book. And that's what you are. I'm going to encourage people. I know that your website is up now, but you're expanding on that. But people can go to your website. They can communicate with you there. And I'm going to ask everyone who's watching, whether it's now live or later on Facebook or YouTube, to take a moment to go and visit Melinda's website. You can also make a contribution there, because no matter what, this is not a cheap process. And Melinda, I know that you've had requests for yard signs. We've been getting them here in the office as well. But we should tell our viewers that there is a severe national shortage of the metal hoops that go into the ground.
That's what I've heard. But we are working on it. You might see my T-shirt back there. That's the first thing we've got, but our color is orange, and it is orange for many reasons. One, I've heard that orange is the happiest color, and it's not just necessarily OSU or OSU. That's not why I'm saying, but I have always loved orange. It reminds me of the Oklahoma sunset. It also reminds me that of our Lieutenant Governor also is over wildlife. We serve on that board also. I want the people of Oklahoma to know that I can relate to that. I train a hunting dog. I'm not the greatest hunter, and my dog's not the best hunting dog, but we are involved in that, and we know about how important that wildlife is to Oklahoma.
I have to put up one more comment from Mary Patterson. I think that you will appreciate this. She says, "You've got my vote. Thank you for your willingness to serve Oklahoma." And I can echo that same sentiment.
Thank you, Ms. Patterson.
Melinda, we are out of time. Thank you for arranging your schedule to be able to join us tonight. And I will look forward to seeing you on the campaign trail again very soon.
Now, I also want to let people know we'll be working and volunteering at voter registration booths around. We're going to try and hit as many places as we can. And if you see a voter registration booth, and I'm going to be there, that's where I'll be. That's where you will find me, signing up new voters, because we need them.
Yes. Well, thanks again for being with us. All best wishes, and I'm counting on applauding you come election day, Melinda. Great work, and thank you from all of us.
Thank you. Thank you. You have a good evening.
Thank you. Before we leave, I need to just point out a comment that we got from Alicia Kelly Sullivan. Dem candidates go to rural women and talk about Roe versus Wade because even Republican women are mad. And I love that you said that, Alicia, because that is the counter to what I was saying earlier about there are some people that just will not listen to us. But if we can find common ground with even the strongest Republicans, we can begin to make a difference for our communities and for our state. So thank you for sharing that thoughtful scene with us. Friends, we are out of time tonight. I want to express my thanks to you for tuning in this evening. It's always an honor to be with you on Monday evenings at 6:30, and we'll be back here again next week doing the same thing. But between now and then, join Alicia Andrews live at 4:15 every day for her Chairs Daily live update on Facebook and YouTube. And as with this broadcast, I hope that you'll consider sharing it with your friends on social media, because the more people that know that Democrats are here, we are active, and we are committed to positive change, the better off it is for all of us. Please watch those temperatures this week. Stay well, stay hydrated, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next Monday evening at 6:30. On behalf of all of us at the Oklahoma Democratic Party, I'm Scott J. Hamilton. Thank you and good night.